You've done your photo shoot, you're probably the leanest that you've ever been, and most people's natural instinct is to annihilate every bit of food in sight. And I get it, we've all been there, but most people go down this route and then before you know it, within the first couple of weeks, they're 10, 15, maybe even 20 pounds up on the scale weight, losing pretty much everything that they've worked hard for. I'm currently only 3 pounds up from my photo shoot condition, food's already up to 3,000 calories, and I've got a cheat meal in once per week. Training performance has gone through the roof, and I'm not gaining fat, if any, at the rate that you'd expect. In this video, I'm going to show you how I've controlled my reverse diet, the importance of getting appetite managed, and why you need to take the post-shoot phase just as important as the prep itself. Now, let me tell you, the post-shoot phase is definitely the danger zone for your physique.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
This is where things can go drastically wrong if you don't take this phase very seriously, and I've definitely been a culprit of this myself in the past. The issue is post-diet, when you've been in a deficit for a long period of time, your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, are all over the shop. They're literally screaming at your body to put some body fat back on, and it can become a danger zone for the physique. But here's the thing, the second you start to see this post-shoot phase as part of the whole process and start to take it just as seriously as the prep itself, everything changes. So here's the numbers. At the end of my photo shoot prep, I was 87 kilos on the dot. This morning's check-in weight, we was 88.5 kilos. So a 1.5 kilo gain within that time. However, we have got calories up from 1900, which were pretty low, straight up to 2,800. So a big old increase in food of around about 50%. Within that time, we've also got cheat meals back in at once per week. So I'm enjoying an off-plan meal once per week where I essentially eat what I want within reason, and I'll just pull my calories down a little bit throughout the day just to give me a little bit of a cushion to allow for that influx of calories in the evening. And the thing is to allow yourself this little bit of additional flexibility and to get your food up nice and fast. So we can get those calories up nice and high quickly, get appetite managed and under control, get the flexibility of off-plan meals back in, we can very, very quickly get out of this danger zone, as opposed to elongating the deficit by keeping calories very low, over-restricting food, and appetite stays crazy high. And this is where most people go wrong and end up just binging and restricting and gaining all the body fat back. So many people try to reverse themselves up too slowly by adding 100 calories here, 100 calories there, slowly tapering off the cardio, and essentially they're just continuing to diet. They're keeping their body in that vulnerable position where appetite is crazy high, and like I said, they just keep binging and restricting, and they just make it harder for the body to get back to a homeostasis. Now, with training during the end of prep, due to food coming down, body weight coming down, you feel flat, lethargic, performance doesn't feel the same, motivation drops, and everything just feels in the bin. Since increasing food, we get that muscle glycogen and that fullness back in the muscle. We get that inflammation because we're getting stronger, performance and motivation is improving, and this just helps the whole process where we can see that that increase in food is having a direct correlation to our training. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't talk about. They just focus on the calories, they just focus on the diet, but actually we can have a big focus on, okay, where are we putting them extra calories? Are we ensuring that our performance is improving in the gym? Are we utilizing the additional food? What we get then is actually a systematic increase in our energy requirements, as opposed to just ramming in the additional food. As our energy requirements increase, this opens the door for us to then increase our energy intake via taking on board more food. And this continued upregulation of energy demands is what allows us to continue to keep shifting food upwards. Now, as for the cravings, they don't just disappear. And as I said, my appetite is still pretty high, but it's in a much more controlled state. Now, where a lot of people go wrong in this phase is they end up just over consuming all the foods that they've been missing for so long. All the sugars, the ultra processed foods, which, yeah, they might scratch that itch, but essentially they're just gonna ramp up cravings even further. What we do instead, we keep protein nice and high. We stick to mainly whole food sources, which we know are gonna nourish us and have us feeling fuller for longer. We pack our meals with lots of fiber and vegetables, colors and flavorings, and things that we know are gonna make our food enjoyable to eat. So I'm just making every meal denser and more enjoyable to eat. That way we're not kicking up and encouraging those cravings, we're leaving ourselves feeling more satiated, and of course we got that off-plan meal once per week to look forward to as well. And I think just knowing each week that you've got that off-plan meal at the end of it helps to keep you on track. It shouldn't be seen as a reward, but it certainly gives you that something to look forward to after a solid week of nailing your reverse. But mainly, guys, the thing that really helps me with reversing is the mindset around it, right? If we can, and this is what I say to my clients, if we can focus on this post-shoot or post-diet phase as part of the diet, this is part of the process. Like, you are still in the process, okay? Just because calories are higher, just because flexibility's come back a little bit, there's going to be another phase within your physique development journey, right? And it might be a growth phase, it might be a maintenance phase if you're looking to maintain your condition. Whatever it is, the next step is going to be massively improved by how you execute this phase here. So don't see this as an all-out shoot is done and we can now just kind of open the floodgates and you know, regain that body fat very, very quickly, but more see it as a phase where like this is part of the entire process. And if someone was to say to you at the back end of the diet, I will double your calories, half your cardio, and you can have a cheat meal once per week, you would take their arm off. However, all of a sudden people get to this post-shoot phase and all of that structure and accountability goes out the window and body fat just comes on, and before they know it, they've gained the body fat, they're feeling awful in their skin, and they've got to diet again. So see this as part of the entire process and see it as a stage where you need to remain just as disciplined to set yourself up for the next phase. Now, we don't want to go too slow with our increases in scale weight and body fat. I'm 3 pounds up now, and I'll probably put another 3 pounds on across the next couple of weeks. And then for me personally, my aim at the moment is to maintain. So I'll probably sit somewhere around 4 to 5 pounds above where I was with my shoot condition. However, if you're fully reversing out of a dieting phase, this is all relative to the kind of condition that you brought to the diet, to the photo shoot. But most importantly, get yourself back up to a comfortable body weight where you can perform well in the gym, where appetite is managed, and when you're recovering well. And that will look different from one person to the next, but the most important thing is to get out of this danger zone where appetite's crazy high and your body just wants to regain body fat, and ensure you're not adding too much weight in that initial period. Then once you've got yourself to a baseline and everything's managed, you can then just gradually control your rate of gain. I'll do another video on how to approach the gaining phase and what sort of rate of gain we're looking for. But as for the reverse diet, we're essentially just trying to get ourselves back to a healthy body weight where we can then go into the next phase with everything being fully controlled. Appetite, body weight, fluid retention, energy, performance. So that's the approach I've taken, guys. I'll be interested to hear anyone else's thoughts, views, and opinions on how they've managed this phase. But for me personally, the take homes, ensure you get your calories up nice and high, so we're managing that appetite. Bulk your meals out with plenty of protein, good whole foods, vegetables, fibers, fruits, colors that are going to make you feel nice and satiated. Get your off-plan meals in at once per week, but keep them controlled and just pull down your food intake a little bit throughout the day just to give yourself that little bit of a cushion. Focus on your training performance, getting that nice and high so we're utilizing the calories coming in, thus encouraging nutrient uptake and allowing us to then eat more food, and focus on the mindset around this phase. Remember that this phase is just as important as the diet itself, and apply just as much consistency and accuracy to this phase to set yourself up for the next step of your physique development. If anyone's got any questions, guys, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below, and I look forward to bringing you more educational content. Peace.